Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. In today's episode, I want to take a look at a dialogue on Twitter between Elon Musk and Dave Lee. A lot of great stuff in this, very good context into Optimus the bot, and there's even some drama that might be stirring up between Dave Lee and Elon, which honestly, I think it's much to do with nothing. We'll take a look at that. I'll give you my 2 cents on that. But before we do that, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I think this is a episode that will give us a lot of perspective on decisions and reasons behind why Elon does some things, which I think as an investor is a very important thing to understand. It's important to understand what management within a company, what the CEO and the top engineers are doing and how they see their time best spent on behalf of the company. So with that said, let's jump into it. Here's the first tweet that we saw in the exchange between Dave Lee and Elon Musk. Here's the first tweet that we see between Dave Lee and Elon Musk. And here we see Dave Lee tweeting saying, "I think it's possible that Elon Musk was shown a better than expected super early humanoid robot prototype by his team. Perhaps one that can walk, rough port of FSD, made it obvious to him that Tesla needs to double down on this." Elon responded, which I think this is kind of the crux of the whole thing. I think this is very interesting. Elon responds saying, "I'm driving this program personally, as is the case for almost all new programs." So based off of that, obviously that just leaves you wondering so much more. And we'll dissect this a little bit in a little bit here, but it makes you question more things, and that's the natural evolution when you see such a profound statement by Elon, right? He's the CEO. He's got everything going on with SpaceX, Neuralink, Boring Company, Tesla, obviously all the divisions in Tesla, 2 gigafactories ramping up. And here Elon's telling us that he's the one that's personally leading the entire program for Optimus subprime, right? The Tesla humanoid. So naturally, this bears more questioning to come. And that's what happened with Dave Lee. And so Dave Lee tweeted the following, saying, "Questions I'd love to ask Elon Musk about his insistence to drive almost all new programs at Tesla." And here were his questions. "Why are you insistent to directly drive almost all new programs at Tesla? How much time does it take to drive a new program, and how is that time spent? What is your role in driving a new program? What are your responsibilities? What are the key skills required to drive a new program successfully? How involved are you in hiring for a new program? When do you hand off a program to someone else to drive it?" Right? And so this was his response to Elon Musk's tweet. And so I understand all these questions coming off from Dave Lee, but I won't lie. If someone bombarded me with all that, it'd feel more like, all right, are you trying to interview me here? Like, is this, am I here trying to get a job with you? It seems like a little bit of a bombarding of questioning, which I get, right? I mean, I have all these questions as well. It's very interesting, but I think the part that kind of stirs something within Elon was when Dave Lee said, "Why are you insistent to directly drive almost all new programs at Tesla?" And so that led to Elon Musk replying to Dave saying, "Dave, I know you're a fan, but this is a silly question. I don't drive programs because I want to, but because I have to." Now, before we dive into what Elon just said here, there seems to be some controversy starting to stir up. I'm seeing it all over Twitter. And, I just want to give my 2 cents on this. I don't think Elon was giving a jab to Dave Lee at all. I think this is just who Elon is. He's not just a normal dude. Cue SNL.
Look, I know I sometimes say or post strange things, but that's just how my brain works. To anyone I've offended, I just want to say I reinvented electric cars and I'm sending people to Mars in a rocket ship. Did you think I was also going to be a chill, normal dude?
I think this is just the way Elon talks. I think this is his demeanor. I think if he was talking to you in person, you would get the context of his sarcasm, and maybe he'd be giggling or like, ha, his little laugh he does. I don't know. I think people are just taking this a little too seriously. I don't think Elon's bashing Dave. I don't think Dave's going to take this too seriously. I'm sure Dave will talk about it on one of his episodes coming up. But It's just we live in this era of sensitivity where if anybody doesn't say something quite the way you want it to be said, or how it should be said, or something that maybe could be perceived or interpreted in a certain way, we all just jump on it and we act like it's such a big deal instead of kind of taking a step back and thinking, okay, maybe it's just the way it came off, or maybe he didn't think twice about how he was going to write something, how it might, generate to the greater populace out there. So anyways, I think a lot of this drama that might be stirring up or is stirring up based on what I've seen is much to do with nothing. Anyways, let's talk about what Elon said. So I think it's very interesting that he says here, I don't drive programs because I want to, but because I have to. And, it makes you wonder a little bit about Elon himself and, the type of person he is. I think a lot of CEOs, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially early on entrepreneurs, they tend to be driven by their passion for what they're doing, right? The problem that they're trying to solve, the solution they're trying to deliver to the greater populace. But I think as those entrepreneurs, grow in fame and they get all the success, it seems like quickly a lot of their goals turn into financial reward. And this is something that we have not really seen with Elon Musk. Right? Whether it was going from PayPal to Tesla or PayPal to SpaceX, Elon Musk has always been the person to put all his chips in the middle and go all in on given companies that he's invested in or he's helping to start up. And I think this just speaks a lot to that, right? Elon Musk does not believe in doing anything kind of a half-assed approach. He doesn't really seem to believe in these side projects. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it right, and he's going to be the one there sleeping on the factory floor, making sure it's done correctly. And so this is a rare thing. We don't see this from a lot of CEOs, and we don't see this from a lot of companies these days, if any, really, especially none the size of Tesla. I think Elon is just a different breed of person. He's cut from a different cloth. In his mind, this is his company. This is his baby. Anything that is started, any new project within the company, it needs to have his DNA in it from the inception, right? If it doesn't have his DNA, his ethos, his work ethic from the inception, what's going to become of it, right? I saw actually, ironically enough, a recent episode of Dave Lee where he had I'm blanking on his name, but he's in I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. He's in artificial intelligence. It's a lot of what he does, and he comes on to Dave Lee's channel, and they talk a lot about FSD and where it's at in the progress. And one of the things that he was saying is that he is all in invested in Tesla as well, but he's a long-term trade or investor, right? So he doesn't really care about the day-to-day of the stock price movements, but he does follow it. And the reason he follows the day-to-day of the stock price movements and what's going on with Tesla is because eventually, 10 years from now, right, 20 years from now, if he wants to sell, he needs to know what's going on with the company. He needs to know, where things are at. What are the idiosyncrasies of the company? And if he just sat there and forgot about the stock, just invested and never looked at it, didn't keep up with it, he wouldn't be in tune with where the company is. And I think the same goes for Elon. Within Tesla, within SpaceX, all these divisions, all these new ideas, these new programs being started up, I think the way Elon feels is I have to start it from its inception so that it has, my touch on it, my DNA, my thoughts early on. And then if I don't do that, right, then as that program evolves and grows, if I'm not sitting there at the inception, I'm not going to really understand what's going on with that program. I won't be in touch with it, right? It'll grow in its own thing, become its own program, and I just won't have a real feel for it. And that's why I think Elon works so many hours, so many days of the week, is because he feels that he has to be in touch with everything. Now, I think that's how he feels for projects to become successful. I also think that he feels that Optimus is a bigger picture project. I think that with Optimus, he feels it's going to be the product that can, bridge the gap between SpaceX and Tesla, right? SpaceX and Tesla, they already have a lot of synergies. For example, they share a materials engineering department, right? Tesla and SpaceX both use the same engineers for that. But with Optimus, this is going to be a product that can help, obviously, Tesla with manufacturing. It can be another revenue source, even bigger than FSD. But Optimus can also be the resource, the X factor for doing certain things. For example, Starship, right? We could use humanoids to go to Mars and be the first ways that we interact with Mars without having to risk any actual human lives. We could use humanoids to go and terraform Mars before we ever go over there. We can use humanoids to do a lot of testing before humans have to actually risk their lives, right? I think there's a bigger possibility here. Even for within Tesla, I think there's different options, right? We talk about robo-taxis a lot lately, especially with Elon's conviction FSD. Imagine a fleet of robo taxis, right? And they just pull into a certain station to charge up or swap batteries. I talked about that recently. Who knows if they do that? It's just an idea I had, just to get quick turnover. But maybe you have humanoids there that plug in the vehicle and then go and clean the car. I mean, do you really think that'd be that difficult for them to program or to solve, to clean a car after it's been out there and while it's charging? I mean, it's the perfect setup, right? It's no manpower, right? It's just your own, resources doing the work for you. So I think Optimus is a very important project for Tesla or for Elon for many reasons. And it's just so fascinating to see that Elon, the CEO of, these two major companies in Tesla and SpaceX, is saying that he's the one that's leading this program and with many other early programs within Tesla or SpaceX. So this is one of those reasons why when people, wonder about my investments in Tesla and why I'm such a big fan of Tesla and Elon Musk, it's this. These are the reasons. If you were to go to someone like Tim Cook, I guarantee you he doesn't know the intricacies of what's going on with every project within Apple. If you were to go to Jeff Bezos, I guarantee you it would be the same thing. Okay, once you get to that CEO level, especially if you're not an engineer, you're kind of disassociated from the reality of where things are. Elon is not. Elon understands things at a very deep technical level, right? The fact that he can sit there in one breath talk about first and second stage rockets and talk about the difference between superheat within a turbine, and then next second talk about photon count and compression algorithms within a camera. I mean, that just shows you the breadth of his understanding. To go from that to talking about, 800 and 400 volt type of architectures within a vehicle, to talk about the thermodynamics. I mean, this is why I resonate with Elon so much, because my background is a mechanical electrical engineer who then transferred into software, right? It's just very similar on a very, very small scale to Elon, but it's very similar, right? I have all of the electrical engineering background. I have a very deep mechanical engineering background, right? And in both of those, we cross a lot of planes with thermodynamics, with talking about, I worked on extremely high voltage systems. So to see a engineer and a CEO be able to do all of this at a, several orders magnitudes way more in depth than what even I could do, it is just so impressive. And I think whenever you invest in a company, the first thing you have to look at is their leadership and their top line management. And with Elon, it's nothing short of impressive, right? He understands what he's doing. He's next level. So just to circle back to Dave is an amazing podcaster, YouTuber. Dave has a deep understanding. Dave started a few software companies for himself, creating applications for phones and other sorts of things. But Dave understands what he's talking about, and Dave is just excited about where things are going. And, any of you would get, pretty excited if Elon tweeted back to you. I'd get excited if Elon tweeted back to me. I'm not big on Twitter myself, but, other than watching it, I guess. But, it's hard to control your emotions, hard to not want to ask 15 different questions right after he tweets you. So I can empathize with how Dave might be feeling right now. I don't think he'll take it too seriously. I think he'll understand that Elon's just being Elon. That's all. He just made a comment, and he just wanted to express the idea that he doesn't do things because he wants to. He does things because he has to, right? It's built into his DNA. It's in his core. Right? He thinks that he believes, and I think he does have to be the one to help accelerate the world to sustainable energy, be the one to make us a multiplanetary species, be the one to get rockets to reusability, be the one to actually bring on this world of AGI, right? Because if he's not going to do it, who is? Right? We've waited for a long time. We went to the moon. Ever since then, what's happened? We never went back. Right? Electric vehicles were created with the EV1, and what happened with that? They killed it. So if Elon doesn't do it, who's going to do it? It seems like nobody else. And so Elon, I think, has put on his own shoulders saying, if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. So I must be the one. I don't think he does things because he wants to, because he has to. So different kind of episode today. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Don't forget, we do have a merch store. You can get some awesome Berlin, Fremont, Shanghai gear on our merch store. You can find the link down below. But we're going to leave it there. So do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.